Okay, hello everyone. Last session of the day in here, I think. I think there is something else still going on. We are way behind time, but I think this one is going to be very interesting. What we're talking about, and what I want to talk about really, is the brand Bulgaria, the image of Bulgaria, the global perception of Bulgaria. I work as a journalist, I'm in the media, and for our job to do what we do, we need a kind of clearly defined and differentiated image or offer of a destination. And the question I think here is, has Bulgaria got that? Has Bulgaria got that clear differentiation? I can think of other countries, and I'm being a little bit devil's advocate here, if you know that expression. I can think of other countries, Thailand, Scotland, Jamaica, Cuba, which have very clear identities. You know what you're getting when you go to these countries. You know exactly, they conjure up an image in your head. Now, obviously, that's not easy for every country, but I think in this discussion in which we're talking about destination marketing, we're talking about management, tour operators, attractions, business conferences and MICE and branding generally, this is very important. What is the identity of a country? I'm not so much interested in this particular discussion about the fact that for some people it's the country that's next door. It's close to come to. I'm not interested so much in that it's cheap, because these are great things, and I was on a plane full of British tourists who were all coming here and they were going to have a great time, but they weren't, I've got to be honest, I don't think they were coming here because it's Bulgaria. They were coming here because it's a nice resort to go to, and that's fine. That's fine. But I think, well, I want to talk now about the image of Bulgaria. So, I have with me these panelists. We have, and just raise your hand so that everyone knows who you are. Dr. Paulina Karastoyanova, thank you, I got that right in the end. Executive Director, National Board of Tourism, Bulgaria, and I met you at dinner tonight. We have Mr. Ben Locke, who's a Director at Edelman, PR company. We have Mrs. Wang Zuli, CEO of HNA Kaiser Touristic Group, very important, very, very powerful Chinese tourist group. We have Ms. Elif Balti Fizunoglu.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Thanks for rescuing me there. Regional Director, Europe of the International Congress and Convention Association. We have Ms. Brooke Witt, who is Head of Digital Diplomacy on the Global Communications and External Affairs team at Beautiful Destinations. Now, you may have seen the video that was shown earlier on of Egypt, the little short video that was made by Brooke's company. We have Mrs. Hasser Aydin, who is the Event Director of Emmet. And late addition, Rosalina Kreisel from the Bulgarian Convention Bureau, who has a bit of a presentation to show. But I'm not going to, I don't want to do is to have everyone do one little long speech, right? We're going to get this, become this more rapid, and I want people to come in and make contributions, the same with the audience. Let's start, though, by talking to the Bulgarians on the panel, and that is Paulina and Elif. Is there a current destination management plan for Bulgaria? Is there something that says, right, we are selling this country, we are from a marketing point of view, it's devoted, dedicated to that? Maybe I can start with you.
Thank you very much. It is a great honor, pleasure, and very special moment to share with you. Although we are towards the end of this long day conference, your presence here is a compliment for us, and we take it very seriously. Well, I believe it is both very difficult if you have a lot to tell and if you have almost nothing to tell as a destination. We are in the challenging situation of having a lot to tell about Bulgaria and challenged by the task to create a story which is clear enough, short enough, easy to remember enough, and on the other hand, a kind of a story that will work for everyone. So this is in a process. We at the National Tourism Board represent the joint interest of the big investors in tourism in Bulgaria, Some of them are here in this hall. I can see Balkan Holidays management team here. Thank you for being with us. Galaxy Investment Group is here, and our partners from the Bulgarian Balneo and Spa Association. We understand the need of creating our tools, our contemporary cars to move on the highway of the tourism industry. It took us more than 10 years to convince the Bulgarian political establishment that tourism needs a separate independent ministry. So at the end of this long period, 10 years later, it is there, it's a fact. And we are in great support of our Ministry of Tourism, and here is the right place to thank Minister Angelkova and her team for making possible for us to meet you all, distinguished guests today at this conference in Bulgaria. So now what we are working on is to enlarge our park of moving ahead with a national convention organization, because we have been through a number of experiments on creating a Convention and Visitors Bureau, mainly supported and with the enthusiasm of the general managers of the 5-star and 4-star branded hotels. By coming from different destinations, they know how important it is to have a convention center or bureau that will promote the destination internationally. But what we know is that beyond this task, the professional team behind one event, there has to be the institutional support, because if today Bulgaria, Sofia, Burgas or Varna would like to apply for an international event which will be held 5 years later, there has to be two very strong signatures. One of the mayor of this large city or destination hosting, which is a guarantee that 5 years later the financial support and institutional support, security, all items of the event will be there, will still be there, no matter of the fact that the elections will be in between and somebody new will come on board. But the commitment will stay. And the second signature should come from the Minister of Tourism, because when we promote whatever event for Bulgaria, we promote it for Bulgaria no matter where it is held. So we are trying to, with all our respect to all our organizations, Varna, Sofia, all different cities, trying to put together the industry in order to enhance MICE business. We know that MICE business stands almost on the top of the different tourism products. And we know that it is much more than just hotel accommodation or tourism attraction or convention facilities. It is diplomacy, it is transfer of know-how, it is security, it is sophisticated services. And at the end of the day, it should be governmental policy. Another tool that we are trying to put down to work together.
Can I just ask you, just before you go on to that, event, what kind of event? Can you give me an example?
Okay,
yeah.
A great example, just last year, 2018, Bulgaria was chairing the EU presidency. So the first half of 2018, the capital of Europe was in Sofia, not in Brussels. So for us, this was an extreme opportunity to make all our partners within EU, but also worldwide, understand and see and be comfortable with the idea that Bulgaria, and Sofia particularly, is a very respectful and reliable partner when it comes to conventions. So we have a very strong recent evidence that we can do very well. Within these 6 months, there was not even one accident or situation which made any of our visitors feel uncomfortable.
And you
the
had lots of
opposite.
media coverage as well,
Of
presumably.
course,
Yeah.
of course, and just not to be too long, to say that we as a national organization, and I'm very also honored to share that we are the only UNWTO member from the Bulgarian tourism sector as an affiliate member, and looking forward our active role in this organization. We believe that the role of the big stakeholders, which are investors not only in tourism but generally in Bulgarian economy, is to be a very supportive and long-term partner of all institutions in order to convince everybody in the industry that only the joint platform can create special results. And if you ask me in one word, what could be the best ever symbol of Bulgaria, which could be then let's say, developed into brand strategy, into advertising, into logo, into all the messages. My personal choice, and I believe my colleagues will support me, is the rose, because the rose is connected with Bulgarian history and culture for more than thousands of years. And we can bring all the evidences that this territory, this land, and now this country is the country of roses and has to do something. And if you allow me one little story, which may sound like a small joke, but it is very true, is that maybe you don't realize, but each and every one of you in this hall and our colleagues in the conference every day has a drop from Bulgaria by using the perfume. Whichever perfume you choose, there has to be a drop of Bulgarian rose oil if it is a really good quality perfume. If it is not with a drop of Bulgarian rose oil, then this perfume doesn't really work very much. So each of us, if we would love and choose whatever in our daily use, will actually have a drop of Bulgarian rose oil on us. And this is something that makes difference. Thank you very much for this starting part of the discussion.
But are you saying that any top-class perfume has a bit of Bulgaria in it?
Yes, and each of us has a drop of Bulgaria on him.
If you wear perfume?
Yes.
Yeah.
By choosing any top-class perfume.
Any top-class perfume?
Yes.
Okay, that's not bad to work with, is it, Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go to Ben Edelman.
Yes.
Now you've got, I suppose, Bulgaria, is it? Please, yes, please.
Oh, I get a clap. Thank you.
Suppose,
I know.
suppose Bulgaria is a client of yours, okay?
Yeah.
You've got to make it into, yes, must go to place. How do you set about doing that?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I'm not going to give the 100% right answer in the next 2 minutes.
No.
But I will say, I'll just qualify what I'm going to say by saying that I think it's on the right track, but it's not there yet. I don't think there is a unified, consistent brand, certainly from an outsider, yet. I think there is greater opportunity for Bulgaria to have greater association with its heritage. And I think that's not about monuments, that's about how its heritage impacts life today. And we heard from the Egyptian minister earlier on about people to people. And I think that's a fantastic concept. And that's something that Bulgaria can do well. And I think, I'll keep this brief, but I think there are two things that need to be on the table when considering a country brand, a PR campaign around a country. First of all, is getting the narrative right. And I think the danger is with a lot of country brands, they try to be too many things to too many people. You can't please everyone. So know your audience. What do they like? What do they want? And they should be asking themselves, why should I come to your country? And you should be able to answer that and articulate that in a very concise, tailored way. And I think the other thing that is, we talked about the wow factor quite a lot this morning. And to some people's wow factor is another person's sort of, well, of course that's going to be there. So it needs to be tailored person by person. I think another mistake that some countries do, I'm not saying that Bulgaria does, is create a narrative that tries to talk to FDI audiences, to political audiences, and to broadly the tourism industry. Yes, there needs to be synergy between all those audiences, but there needs to be a differentiation. And a lot of countries in the Middle East tend to get that slightly confused. That narrative needs to have personality, it needs to have perspective and passion, the people-to-people thing I mentioned about. A slogan is not a silver bullet. And I think a lot of people pay a lot of money to slogan companies, and they do a great job in many cases, but it's not the silver bullet. The narrative needs to be the elevator pitch. What is it that cuts across that white noise and wants me to go and visit your country? And very importantly, a narrative shouldn't be too much information. You know, we're information overload as it is. Keep it concise. The hygiene factors, the proof points, you know, be it sort of the tax regime or the climate or the ease to get there, they're all great, but they're not the narrative. They're the proof points. And sometimes it's the other way around. So that's kind of my first step would be creating that narrative. I can go on to communications, but I guess you want to carry on going.
The only thing I was going to say was, can you give me a good example of a country that's done, or a destination that's done that well?
Well, I think I was going to get on to storytelling, and that ties into the whole people to people, let your people tell your story. And that all comes to, you know, storytelling, the experience economy, that personality. It's not just about glossy photos, it's using those storytellers as protagonists. So India, for example, I think has done a great job, and you may well be aware of some of the campaigns they've run over the recent years. That they'll have, I'm kind of making this up, but they have a sort of fashion designer from Australia, or they have a doctor from UK, or whatever it is, and they tell their story. What is your perception of India? What do you think is going to be out there? Tell me your family connection or your preconceived notion, and what surprised you when you went out there? So it's these surprising stories about my relationship with that country. And then obviously the stories from the people who are in India, who are part of tourism industry, or people who run the restaurants, or whatever it may be. It's those personal anecdotal evidence that really brings it to life. So I think India did a great job.
Okay, thank you. Hassan, we talked about events. I mean, you work in events in Turkey. You're based in Turkey, yeah? How can events give a destination character and image? And can you do it badly, and can you do it well?
Thank you for inviting me, and it's my pleasure actually to share our experience with you. I'm representing EMIT. EMIT, what is EMIT? EMIT East Mediterranean Travel and Tourism Exhibition, which was born in 1997 in my hands. So which was 23, 24 years ago. So when we start to run EMIT show, there was no tourism at all in Turkey. Nobody was aware of what tourism is. I mean, of course we used to get some tourists anyway, but nobody was aware of the benefit of it and the need of it and so on. We didn't even know how to meet them, you know. We used to meet them at the airport with knife and sword dancing. I'm sure you remember those days, the old ones. So it was so funny, actually, the situation. In any case, when we started in 1997, the idea was to make Turkey, and we have 81 cities in Turkey, and we have many small towns, altogether more than 500 small towns and municipalities. And the idea was to create the awareness of the importance of tourism, what tourism was. So first we start to run exhibition, and we start to call the municipalities and the mayors, and we ask them to participate to show, and they didn't know what to do at the show, and they didn't know what to promote. They didn't know what they had as culture, as tourism, as touristic value, you know. They were not aware of it. So they were bringing the carpets and soaks and whatever they were producing in their city. And then, in this interesting way, they start to learn one another. Actually, EMIT became a school for the industry and for the holiday buyers as well. Because in those days, the holiday buyers were not aware of what the tourism was. So when what we understood from the tourism was to go to summer resorts of, not the summer resort, summer house of the neighbor, for example. Mm. Or my aunt has a summer house in somewhere, let's go and bother them, you know, I mean, something like this. Or we used to go to village to visit our relatives and so on. There was no sort of idea, let's buy a package to go to cover everything, the, you know, hotel and transportation, whatsoever. There was no such idea. So Emit really managed to make the awareness of tourism suppliers and tourism buyers, I mean, actually holiday buyers. So at the end of the day, what we got, it was 6 years ago. Until 6 years ago, when we start for Emit, Turkey, you know, there are number 20 countries list who receive a lot of tourists, you know. So Turkey was not in this list any. I mean, I don't know what number it was.
Yeah.
At the bottom, we never saw it. So, but 6 years ago, Turkey became number 6 biggest country who received 36 million tourists from abroad. And during that time, Emit tourism exhibition that I'm running, became 6th biggest show in the world. So there is a meaning of it. There is something. What happened? How did that happen? As I was trying to say, the cities and the agencies and the hotels, they came all together to Emit show, and they learned one another. For example, one city start to represent their cave somewhere, which is historical one. They were not aware of it. But somehow, they realized that there is a value. So they start to promote this cave. And then neighbor, you know, and at Emit, they saw that, wow, we have something like this. Let's dig it out. And then next year, they start to promote this. And they start to compete one another, you know, who is going to promote their city the best.
But also, also complement each other.
Absolutely.
As well.
Absolutely. So they start to jealous of each other, of course, but also they start to learn and, you know, each other. So it became a real school. After a certain time, they start to promote not only the city, not only the town, many cities in the same region, they start to come together and they promote the whole region as a destination, not as a region anymore. This is very important because when you start to promote a region as a destination, which means the hotels, the travel agencies, and so on, it's a compact promotion. So this is very important, actually, what we manage. On the other side, we also manage to educate the holiday buyers how to go on holiday. I mean, everybody has right to go on holiday. This was our slogan, let us say. Everybody has to go on holiday. I mean, once in a year, twice a year, 3 times a year. And now, you know, early reservation, Turkish people used to last-minute holiday buyers, you know, after a certain time. And now, they start to be aware of it. If you buy it earlier, they will pay less. There's a benefit on it. So they start to do earlier booking reservation and so on. And on this side also, Emit became a sort of real school in any case. On the other hand, when it comes to rose, this beautiful lady was talking about the rose country. Bulgaria is a rose country, it is true. And I believe many of our cities, they learned from Emit, from tourism exhibition, and they learned from out of it that let's do something else in their cities to attract the tourists. So I had never been to Sparta, for example, in my life. Sparta is, I don't know, it's a city, okay? I know that carpet was very important over there, the Aphrodite carpet, and rose comes from there. I never thought to go to Sparta to see the roses until they organized Rose Festival. Rose picking festival, they organized it, for example. So I went there. It was 3 days, 4 days. I enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
It is so great idea.
Yeah.
And in Adana, for example, they produce orange. So they start to organize orange flower festival.
Yeah, yeah.
So
and what you talk
like
about
this.
there as well is you're creating an event. You're creating a themed holiday in a sense, aren't you?
Exactly.
And it's experiential.
That's
and then you
exactly.
associate it with the country.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So in order to do this, what we did actually, to run a tourism exhibition is not only a private business, it's a private business. I mean, government is not allowed to organize such thing. Only private business. But since from the beginning, since 1997, what we did, we made all the agents of the sector, Travel Agencies Association, the Turkish Investors Association, Hotel Federation, Ministry, Tourism Ministry of Turkey, and municipality, because this event is being organized in Istanbul, right? So what we do, Emit Istanbul. So
Yeah.
I like ITV Berlin,
Yeah.
like World Travel Market. So we promote Istanbul together with Emit. So municipality became part of it also.
Yeah.
So we start to make them all as part of the organization, in spite of the fact it's a private organization. At the end of the day, it had to promote Turkey and Istanbul all together.
Okay, very good. Thank you
So
very
that
much.
worked out actually.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Wang, I want to turn to you because everybody, Wang, talks about the Chinese market, and everybody says, oh, that everybody wants the Chinese to come over here. You must be really bored of hearing this, because number one, Chinese people aren't all the same. They're very different. They have very different needs. They're young, they're old, the next generation, all those things. But I want to talk to you about the awareness of a country like Bulgaria in China. Would you have even learnt it at school? Would you have learnt about it at school? Would you know about it?
Especially for the old people in China, when they was young, they watched a lot of movie about Bulgaria. So
That really helps, doesn't it? Yes,
yeah,
yes.
of course.
And so when you, for instance, are thinking about whether Chinese people come here, forget about the visa issue for the moment, forget about the direct flights and all those things, but you think there would be an interest. There is a definite, clear idea of what Bulgaria stands for.
I just think about it and I write down 4 points want to discuss with everyone. If we want to promote Bulgaria in China, I think the first one is social media.
Social media.
Social media is very important in China. For example, there is an app, it's very popular now, named Little Red Book. Some young people prefer to write something and post some pictures and videos on it after their trip. The other people will see what they buy, what they see, what they experience. So it's very important. And the second one is the feedback of tourism coming back from Bulgaria.
Yeah.
Because on website, we always can see some people write something. This is a wonderful trip. I didn't satisfied for this, etc. So this is the important factor. And the third one is, as the lady mentioned, the event is very important. For example, this weekend, our company have more than 200 tourists is visiting the Bulgaria now. And this weekend, they will attend the Rose Festival.
Okay.
Yeah, and they came to Bulgaria because of this festival.
Because of the festival, yeah.
Because our product's name is Rose Festival. So I think event is very important because our customer can give us the time the customer can give us is very limited, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. So we need an event to tell them and to touch them. So this is the second point. And the fourth point is about the stores of a travel agency.
Yeah.
We, Kaisa, have more than 300 stores in different cities in China. And our stores is different from the other travel agencies. We always choose the biggest shopping mall in this city.
Right.
And that means our neighbor is Apple Store, Starbucks, or the cinema, etc. When the people want to shop something and relax, they will meet our store, and they have time to go into our store and talk with our staff. If we can put something in the store, day by day, year by year, that is a huge number of people can know about Bulgaria. So that's what I suggest.
Okay, I think you two should talk. Interesting. Brooke, we saw earlier on, as I mentioned, the Beautiful Destinations video, which you did for Egypt. Now, first of all, just tell me about, if you know about it, the background to how that happened, and what do you think the effect of it is? Mm-hmm. Is that a successful venture?
Yes, absolutely. So Beautiful Destinations in Egypt became partners back in January after the World Travel Market Conference in London. It's been a fantastic partnership, and the way that Beautiful Destinations work with countries is through a nation branding approach, through a three-pronged approach with the Ministry of Tourism, local on-the-ground content creators from Egypt. So these are content creators who are like many influencers in the market. They have a heightened awareness of what Egypt has to offer. And then the last prong is with our own content creators. So we have a group of 25 in-house content creators who go around the world to tell interesting stories. And in order to tell those interesting stories, we need to understand what that market looks like. And so that's what that partnership is between the ministry, the content creators on the ground, and then our own team. So we go in there, and it's not just about telling Egypt's story from a historical perspective of the Sphinx, the pyramid, King Tut. It's more about how can we look at dispersion? How can we showcase Egypt in a really dynamic way that isn't just the stereotype? So looking at the heritage culture, looking at the food culture, having our content creators alongside the ministry sleep in a tent with the tribal region, and really having an ingrained and hands-on approach to interesting and dynamic people-first storytelling. And so that's essentially our approach. We also are clients of Jamaica, and so the Jamaican brand is very well known, and we're proud to say that we are continuing that really exciting marketing and storytelling through that approach. For Beautiful Destinations, when we think about a successful video or marketing campaign, it's essentially what does that reach look like on our own social media account, which has over 20 million followers across Instagram, Weibo, Facebook, Snapchat, and then also looking at the reach in other markets. So when we sell different content or we involve different influencers, what does that reach look like, and how can we make sure it's reaching the exact segment market? So when we focus on a segment, it's not how can we spray fire it, but rather how can we target the right tourist that Egypt is essentially wanting, or that Jamaica wants, or Brand USA. All of these different markets are targeting different people. And so something I would say to Bulgaria is, when looking at your target market, really hone in on that. Because marketing is expensive, and you want to make sure your dollars are going to that location. So when looking at the idea of imagination and awareness, it's really important to know, does my target market know I'm even on the map? Because yes, Bulgaria is on the map, but if you're not on the map to Gen Zs or to millennials, you don't exist, and people aren't going to know to Google a Wizz Air flight to get to Bulgaria or to get to sunny Beach Burgas, even though it is gorgeous. And so I think that that's the first step, is really the inspiration, the awareness factor. The second step is, like we do with Egypt, is making sure you're utilizing your Instagram and social media presence in the right way. So something that I see done often is with a commercial that somebody makes. They use that same commercial on the TV, on Snapchat, on Instagram, and then also in their Instagram in-feed and stories. That is not the way to do social media. Make sure that you're using the platform in the way that it's intended to. So for example, with Instagram Stories is meant to be a really dynamic, kind of live experience, raw, unedited, behind the scenes photos or videos. So making sure that you're staying true to that is really important. Some of our own metrics show that we have an 85% click-through rate for all of the different stories if it's raw, behind-the-scenes, unedited footage on Beautiful Destinations. And that's over 1 million people viewing an 8-second clip. And then we can even parse that down to where are these people coming from when viewing the photo? Are they from China? Are they from inland Europe? You know, what is their age bracket? And we can break it down into different market segments to making sure we are hitting those right targets. And then, you know, hopefully we can see those return dollars in people coming to Bulgaria or wherever that is.
It's really interesting what you're saying there, because, I mean, one thing that occurs to me is local characters. You talk about narratives. I mean, real people. Are they as important as, say, a celebrity? Where's this a famous Bulgarian celebrity? I mean, obviously, you know, you'd be putting that person on every picture around the world, I presume. But local, real, authentic people can work as well. Is that right?
I would say that that is even more effective because, you know, a famous person in Bulgaria is not necessarily going to be a famous person in America or in Great Britain or in China. And so telling local stories that your audience can actually relate to is really important. So for example, with Egypt, we partnered with a local rapper who he had experienced the Arab Spring. You know, Egypt is kind of, they are coming back from it. Their tourism is on the rise, 55% over the last 3 years. It's continuing to rise in 2019, which is really exciting. But what characters relate to the US tourist and to that Gen Z or millennial environment or audience? So yes, it is important that they are people that other people can relate to and less of a famous individual that you might not know even though they have a massive presence in that market.
It's absolutely fascinating. I mean, and how particularly social media has taken over the whole of this landscape now when we come to... sorry, Ben, you just want to say
Just very
something?
quick. It's interesting. I'm sort of more of a traditional PR guy. Obviously, we must worship at the altar of social media, and we can't deny the inevitable transition. However, two things. First of all, those online social media influencers, it's interesting how influencers become a bit of a dirty word. So you get the sort of, whatever her name is, Kylie, Kendall, Jenner, whatever her name is, through to a travel blogger, and they're no longer influencers. They're sort of like the Instagram leaders or whatever they want to call themselves now, because there is the image is somewhat tarnished about what makes a good influencer. In actual fact, at Edelman we do this research every year called the Trust Barometer, which is 30,000 people across 30 markets looking at levels of trust of government, NGOs and media. And within media, this year is extraordinary. The trust in traditional media is shooting up, social media going down. And that's in the wake of fake news. So,
yes, right.
so I'm not calling the demise of social media, but all I'm saying is that I think there's going to be, in travel, there's going to be a re-evaluation of the relationship that country brands have with those social media influencers.
And there is also a fact that certain YouTubers, for example, who've got these massive followings and channels, are paid for by the PR companies to go and do that job, and people can see through that.
Yeah.
So back to good old BBC travel media.
Exactly.
Programs you can trust.
Yeah.
If it's okay, can I jump
Yes,
in
please,
really
yeah,
quickly? So no, I absolutely agree with what you're saying, Ben. 100%. And so I think it's really important that when you are promoting your location, it is so authentically true to actually the experience that the travelers will have on the ground. Because something that we like to think about on social media is that you have the rise of the amateur storyteller. You know, journalists are not the only people who can mass tell a story, because now you have individuals on social media who can live stream, you know, a bad experience at your hotel or a bad experience at your airport, wherever it may be. So yes, it is important that you are authentic and true to what you actually have to offer, because believe me, with TripAdvisor, Google reviews, Instagram stories, it will come back to bite you. Even if it seems grandiose at the very beginning, you know, you'll just see a decline. So being authentic to yourself is key.
Okay, let's just turn now to a very important market, but slightly different. But I'm interested in as to how much the image again of a country matters. Business, MICE, tourism. Let's start with you, Alif. I mean, how important is it that the business, the company, or whoever they decide to have a conference here, that they know what Bulgaria stands for? What is the image of Bulgaria? Does that make any difference?
First of all, I would like to very briefly mention what is ICCA. ICCA is a network of government bodies, private companies, and we were established in 1963 by 4 travel agents who wanted to share information and business among themselves. And now Today we have 1,200 members from 100 countries, including over 350 destination marketing organizations from all around the world. What they do is they all try to understand what's happening all around and what is the value of the international meetings and how they can position their destinations. And what we do is actually the numbers, the figures are important. They show where the brand stands, but also they support and they create the brand itself. So since 1973, ICCA tracks the international meetings that has a rotation, so which has the potential to go to other destinations. Not, I mean, one-time organized events. I mean, for instance, this is a conference, a great organization, but this is not one of the events, not one of the conferences that we count. We count the conferences that can go 1 year to Bulgaria, next year to China, and the other year to, Russia. So when we look at that, Bulgaria has a position of, as country, 58 in the world, with 43 international congresses in 2018. And Sofia is the leading destination, together with Varna, Burgas, and one more other city who is hosting international congresses. Sofia is number 90 in the world rankings with 31 congresses in 2018. Maybe when I say 58 and 90, not maybe very attractive figures, but of course the largest cities, the largest countries are also among the statistics. So number one country is the United States, and number one destination is, because we have two types, the countries and the city rankings. This year, Paris is the number one. Last year, it was Barcelona. And we have also, for instance, Vienna as a rather smaller city being in the top 4 every year since 30 years' time. So first of all, we are glad to see the developing meeting industry in Bulgaria, and with the establishment of the Bulgarian Convention Bureau, because the Convention and Visitors Bureaus are the destination marketing organizations of the destinations, especially when it comes to MICE business, international events, and any kind of sport activities, kind of organized travel, let's say, which we give more importance because of the economic value created and also the image brought to the destination. Because there's vice versa relationship. The meetings come to destinations who has a good image, but also if you start hosting international meetings, then you build the image and the reputation.
And because those people become ambassadors for the country as well, because they go back to their own countries and say, I've just been to Bulgaria, it was great. Is that how it works? Or?
Yeah. Mostly you host businessmen, you host scientists, and those people are the ones who are most connected with their local communities. They are the opinion leaders in their communities. Those people become your ambassadors, but also you need first your local ambassadors, your scientists, your business people, your local associations, who should invite the international meetings, because the infrastructure, the capacities, the convention centers, the investment, now we are at an investment conference, all those investment discussions and where Bulgaria is going to head with international hotel chains coming, with the airport facilities, airline connections are really very important, but also so many destinations today in the world has all those capacities. So the meetings, the events do not only choose destinations based on the capacities. This is also where the destination marketing is heading to. Now we are not discussing about, or we are not calling it anymore destination marketing only. It's destination management, place branding, place management, because it's a product altogether with the capacities, with the local infrastructure, with this scientific work, and the international meetings come to your destination for legacy, to learn from you and to give something back to you. So the destinations are promoting themselves only, not saying that I have this and that. The beauties, everything is really very important and crucial, but they consider that you already have all those things. You need to have a message to them. For instance, we've been talking about the ROS. Bulgaria can very quickly, because as ICCA we have the database of the international rotating meetings, so we have over 230,000 meeting editions, which includes 13,000 rotating meetings every year. And Bulgaria is represented by 1,368 international associations, local contacts, having a member society in Bulgaria. So easily, Bulgaria can look at this, the database and figure out what are the congresses that are related with ROS.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are a couple of congresses that are related with ROS. And then, while approaching them, Bulgaria, of course, will tell about the capacities, but first needs to tell them that why they should come, why the ROS Congress should take place in Bulgaria, what the Chinese ROS...
Whoa, sorry.
Chinese ROS scientists will learn from...
Do you want to take the hand mic?
Take mine.
What the Chinese ROS scientists learn from the Bulgarian ones, and how connections they can create among the region. So those are the important elements shaping future events and meetings industry.
Okay. You know what, Paulina? I think you should get all these people in a room for a week, and we could sort this out.
Just I can mention one more thing, as you were also mentioning the UNWTO. Since 2006, ICCA, together with some other meeting industry associations, we are an affiliate member. And in 2006, during the General Secretary period of Taleb Rifai, we all together prepared the first economic value of the meetings industry report together with UNWTO. And since then, countries started paying attention and investing on that. This economic impact report is not an easy thing that you can do every year. Average every 5-year destinations repeat this study for... I was just trying to manage with this microphone. This microphone is becoming an issue.
I'm holding your hand.
So we've been, so it gave an inspiration to the destinations. And just to give you a figure about the total value of the meetings industry, the recent study which was done by the Events Industry Council shows that, which was launched in November 2018 in Las Vegas prior IMEX, the global meeting industry, the business events industry has a value of $1 trillion US. The contribution to the global economy, and a total effect of 5.9 million jobs all around the world. So we're talking about not only people traveling for meetings, because when we count the problem with the leisure destinations, because I'm also originally from Istanbul. I was the general manager of Istanbul Convention and Visitors Bureau since 2014, where we were among the top 10 Congress destinations. It was an important business for the destination, but when we look at the figures, millions of Russians and German people coming to Antalya, the meetings industry were still small. So while talking to the politicians, when we say they spend 3-4 times of the normal tourists, it's important, but it doesn't show the real value of the meetings. Because the meetings also generate tax. The investors come, the scientists come, they discuss about building a new research center. Or maybe there's a small meeting we call with 100 people, but those people are the CEOs of the top, international, institutions, and they are discussing a value of 50 billion euros, investment for the coming 5 years' time. So those are the beyond tourism and beyond economic impact of the meetings that today we are discussing with all destinations and trying to help the destination marketing organizations to give them the tips that they can also communicate with their politicians about the real value of the meetings.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And you mentioned the Bulgaria Convention Bureau, and you have Rosalina, you've got
Yes.
a little presentation, it's a short one,
Yeah,
right?
no, I
Yeah.
probably will not start with the presentation. I can speak because everybody here has
Yeah.
a discussion. So I'm very emotional when I speak about Bulgaria and how to sell Bulgaria as a product and what is the main point. I have been to so many exhibitions and they always when I have meetings, always people come and have, but why don't you have a convention bureau? Because, you know, it is extremely important for all associations when they come and when there is a bid, so to contact a convention bureau because they know they could trust because there are people, hotels, conference organizers, travel agency, transport companies, catering companies, so, and everything is in one and the organizer from the other side, I mean the association or the business partner, they have, they don't lose their time also, they are in good hands and then everything they trusted to be done and to bring the result. So in April 2016 was established the Bulgarian Convention Bureau, which is currently very active convention bureau. The founders of the Convention Bureau is the National Palace of Culture Congress Center, International Expo Center in Sofia, and Bulgarian Hotel and Restaurant Association. And very soon, till the end of the year, a lot of other companies applied and members of the Convention Bureau, five-star hotels, professional conference organizers, catering companies, security companies, travel agencies, and we still have a lot of applications which will, next week is our General Assembly, of course, and they will become members of...
So this will actually work to raise the awareness, the profile of Bulgaria as a place for conventions. The National Palace you mentioned, it's all working
yes,
for the
it's
same
all
thing.
working, as Polly said, that there were before convention bureaus as well, but now this convention bureau is a real active convention bureau, and members of the convention bureaus are companies of business, five-star hotels, as I said, four-star hotels, other professional conference organizers, and I'm very happy we discussed with Elif in the morning, and I'm very happy that she's one of the guests I have opportunity to meet her, and she's regional director for Europe, and this is from Turkey, so neighborhood country. I'm extremely very happy for this, and you can understand very well and really could to have a real support from International Congress and Convention Association, because this is true what she has said here. Here she's, I can say, powerful association in a means that it's really network all these members, and there is extremely huge database where you could apply for bids and really to bring business to the country. Because now also Bulgaria is, people started more and more interested in Bulgaria. But even they started asking, where is Bulgaria on the map? It's okay, I'm not insulted for this. I'm explaining, I say, oh, but it's just 1 hour from Vienna. Sorry, 2 hours from Munich. We have 20, 30 flights per day. I said, really? I said, yes, absolutely, this is true. So come and see. And we started organizing fun trips as well and bringing conference and events, organizing representative of associations to see. And now we are applied to become a member of International Congress and Convention Association. We're ready for this. Next week it will be voted by our General Assembly, because this is according to the rules.
And do you have marketing? Do you use marketing? Do you spend
yes,
money on marketing?
Yes, we have a marketing also. We have a core group of marketing experts which created our strategy. And we work on this. These are extremely qualified experts.
And what in that marketing are they saying? Bulgaria is this. You must come to Bulgaria because of its national character or its identity.
Yes, this is Bulgaria. You know, it's important saying that we have UNESCO sites, 5 cultural sites, 2 natural sites, but not only this, not only roads, also what Polly said, it's We are famous with this, but we also very famous with good cuisine, very tasty food, wines as well. Plus, we have extremely nice singers. So recently, I had a site inspection visit from U.S. Group, very high level U.S. By the way, coming by private jet, and she said, I'm here not to save money, I'm here to spend money. I said, finally, so you're on the right place, because it's not a good thing about Bulgaria, that it's a cheap country. And we developed and we did a lot, I can see, in the country and in Sofia, infrastructure. We did a lot with qualified and congress centers. It's extremely a lot what has been done, and I can see with my eyes, and this is not just to say, but this is extremely true. So I arranged a very special program in the crypt in the Alexander Nevsky Cathedral. I don't know our distinguished guest or you have been there, but it was amazing. She said, wow, I have never been at such place, and having this singer. So this wow effect, we can bring it, this inspiration. We can, what also Brooke, I think, mentioned about real stories to tell the people, not only celebrities, but this is what also this US group wants to have, to talk with people, to have real story. And nowadays it is changed, because in the past it was somehow more business or this structure you have, but nowadays we somehow cross this part, or this not a border even, but people want to be inspired and really to talk and to feel the country, to go to the market, to see the crafts, how you prepare, to hear your story. So this is what we have to do it now.
That would be in one of Brooke's films, I suspect. That would,
and we can help you, our convention bureau, we can help you with your book in this. And also the Bulgarian Convention Bureau have full support of Sofia municipality. Also we have a governmental support, and when I also had the presentation of a Bulgarian-American Forum, it was recently in Sofia. There I said to our deputy minister, because Minister Gelfo was busy with the ambassador, they left, that next year she has to take part in the political forum in IMEX. IMEX probably here in my industry, you know that is a very important and famous exhibition show. In this political forum, decision makers from governmental institutions, high-level political speakers, they meet with industry, and then during these discussions they bring their added value, and really after that really events go to this destination, for instance. And we are in the Convention Bureau, everybody who really think about how to bring business to promote Bulgaria as a destination. And also we had meetings with the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences, what also Elif has mentioned, that these people are extremely important and to be our ambassadors.
Right. And it goes back to what somebody said earlier on about pride, having pride in your country as well. In that kind of contemporary, not in a kind of bigoted way, but in a modern kind of forward-looking way, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. Pride in what you've got. Now listen, time is coming short. Are there any points that want to be, or questions that people want to make from the floor? If so, you can raise your hand. You can. Sure. Yes. Yes, of course you can. Yeah.
Do you know how many professional Chinese tour guides Bulgaria have?
Great question. How many professional tourist guides, Chinese tourist guides are in Bulgaria?
It's difficult to have impact here. That girl can tell us the answer.
And what is the answer? It's 5. 5 in the whole country.
Yes.
Yeah. well, that might have to change.
But we have Confucius Institute in Sofia, by the way, and I know very famous professors there who have graduated in China, and they are extremely good. And even one of them told me that even now she cannot say that she's so good in Chinese that she said, I know a little bit. I said, no, but you know so much. And you say, so probably we should start somehow educational program or collaboration in this to start a new project. It's a very good, if you want to bring Chinese to Bulgaria, so we have to start with this.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like there's an awful lot of meetings that could go on after this meeting and lots of good stuff can be done.
Yes.
So that was a really productive thing. Pauline, just one last point. Yeah, go on, please.
Thank you. All I want to say is by listening to all these distinguished ladies and gentlemen is that this is a very good group to convince our authorities in what we are talking about. And I strongly believe into this personality feature, because no matter of what we are talking about in generally, there has to be always somebody special behind a certain idea and a project. Someone special is moderating this panel, and I would like to ask you for your applauses.
Is that where you're going with that?
You deserve this respect from us from the very beginning of this long day today. There are special ladies here from Turkey that had done a lot. They have written part of the tourism story, and I would like to mention the good examples. Back in 2004 and 5, Andan Boyse was there managing the Convention and Visitors Bureau in Istanbul, a very charming and active lady. And Christian Mürschlechner was managing Vienna Convention and Visitors Bureau, and he was something like a legend in this business. And talking about IMEX, this was Paul Flaket. He passed away, unfortunately, but he was a big friend of Bulgaria. And I was listening to this sweet lady, and I was kind of with mixed feelings, because I had the same speech 2004 back when the first Convention and Visitors Bureau was established. After that, several Convention and Visitors Bureaus were established. Then we were supported by Paul Flaket and Ray Bloom, who created this great show, IMEX. And I'm just mentioning those names because I know one thing. After more than 15 years around within tourism industry, I'm not a strong believer into this support you mentioned, the support of the government, the support of the industry, the support of the municipality. I'm a strong believer in their real partnership into the Convention Bureau, into the industry, as a major holder of the package, because it is about an industry that needs $1 billion for a year, a budget. Yes. And if they are not there, those nice companies that are members with you, members here, members there, they cannot present this budget. So it is all about to understand that one event today with 10 top leaders, the board of directors meeting of a sector industry of the